What is the most unintentionally hot thing you've ever witnessed? This guy I liked had a violin solo at a concert once. Just the way his hands moved, the way he played had me mesmerized. I was already attracted to him, but that was just insanely hot for some reason. I agree. I didn't think my partner could get more attractive to me until I saw him playing piano masterfully. Instant swoon. I was at the doctor's for a sore throat and the doc was a slender guy around my age. Good looking, but I never thought of him that way. But when he touched the sides of my neck to feel my lymph nodes, he finished by kinda gently moving his fingers down just a little toward my chest area, and I perked up because it was so hot and felt almost deliberate. I'll admit I was pretty starved for some intimacy back then. My now ex-husband had been sick and drinking, so it was the first sensual touch in almost a year, but it just felt so nice. TT. Didn't say anything of course, was just surprise frisky. OHH, I had a similar one. Had a sprained ankle. Hobbled over to the walk-in clinic to make sure it was just that. The doctor is this young, tall, super hot TV looking doctor. He starts feeling my ankle and foot to make sure it's all good, and goddamn, there's something about the forbidden nature of it and that area of the body that made it so hot. In 7th grade my crush walked into class, sweaty from soccer practice, pulled his shirt up to wipe his brow and sent me hurtling into puberty. My crush when I was 16 walked out of wrestling practice pulling off his shirt and heading to the shower. He saw me staring at him and gave me a half smile. That was it. I was done. He's asleep next to me right now, 28 years later. I was in the parking lot waiting for my partner to finish his shift. He makes artisan pizzas, and just watching him laughing with his co-workers and then tossing a pizza in the air and bouncing it on his knuckles just about made me ask him to clock out a little earlier. I just love watching him be good at things he loves doing. This is precious. I manage a restaurant, and at lunch the other day we had a table of 4. They were young, probably early 30s, looked like mean basic B. At the table next to them was a little old man, probably 90. He had ordered the chicken but he was having trouble cutting it and was obviously struggling. He couldn't get his server's attention to help him and he had kind of just stopped trying. The best looking of the 2 men at the table of younger guys stopped eating his own food and pulled up a chair with the old man. Not only did he cut his meat for him, but he also stayed with him until he was done eating and just talked to him, kept him company. To look at the younger guy, you'd have thought he'd be one of those obnoxious guys, you know, in the designer clothes, flashing his money around. He and his friends were loud and ordered all the expensive stuff, but he stopped everything and made sure this old man was okay. His food was cold when he returned to his table, but he didn't complain. We comped his meal and a dessert for him. He even helped the old man get his car back from valet. Eater, you'll need to learn not to pass judgment based on a snippet of a post. This isn't data. You got 5 minutes of movie and you're already panning it. Do better, folks. Done replying. All context is in my comments. In 7th grade, my crush was sitting on the seat next to me. The teacher asked him to shut the door. It was one of those doors that slide and you could push it from the back. He put his arm behind me to shut it and my hormones were flipping out. That would certainly override any walk-to from the pencil sharpener any day. Yesterday my wife of 31 years was doing her thing in the kitchen. As I walked in, her back was to me and she bent down to get something from a bottom drawer. Almost a third of a century with that woman and she still grabs my full attention without even trying. I am a lucky man and I know it. Same for me, mid-40s. Something about her still grabs my attention in hundreds of different ways. Plus when she's putting on her PJs, I get the little topless shimmy and a smile before the PJs go on. I love my life. My fiancé lapping me on an ice skating rink while skating backwards. I could watch that all day. Or when he's zoned in on a drawing that took him 2 hours to draw what would have taken me 2 weeks. How absolutely relaxed yet focused he gets is captivating. Or when I play video games with him and he keeps me from dying like the game controls are just another limb. Talent. I'm a sucker for talent. My boss was standing taking a phone call in our open plan office. It was summer and she wore a black, tight, sleeveless dress. The person on the other end of the line presumably asked a tough question. As she pondered her response, she looked skywards, ran her fingers slowly through her hair and closed her eyes. I was agog. I never knew agog meant the same as tumescent. Go figure. Don't know about most, but recent and memorable. New neighbor was outside watering her plants. She moved so gracefully just the way she knelt to pour a little water on this row of succulents. Zero wasted movement. Something about it was just so picturesque. It grew on ya. So I'm into the whole timid keep to yourself type of women. This girl I know since college. Behaved like a son. Was polite to everyone and just generally very kind. Now she found out her friend's boyfriend is cheating on her. The events unfolded as follows. I enter the class. Teacher walks in followed by this very angry dude that just goes up to the girl I'm talking about and grabs her by the throat. Not 2 seconds later his hands are facing the medically wrong way. She sort of grabbed his hand and did a very sudden twist. There was an immediate screech of agonizing pain from the guy. She didn't even flinch during the whole thing. Just stared at him like a predator looking at a squabbling critter before it. So yeah, turns out that gave me a boner. Also it is currently giving me a boner. When I was in HS, I went to the movies with my girlfriend. During the movie she began to rub her bare foot on my shin very slowly. It drove me berserk. Middle school teacher was surprised in front of the class by her husband coming home from a military deployment. They kissed like my eyes never saw before and he lifted her off the ground. It was practically pornographic to a boy of a certain age. You love to see it. That is the kind of love we all hope for. One time, I was at lunch. This one girl dropped something. When she went to pick it up, I just happened to be standing behind her. So, as she was picking it up, her hair flipped forward and she brushed it out of her face and turned around. Since I was behind her, when she turned around, we were in each other's faces, this close. We didn't move either. Happy to report she's my girlfriend now, lol. Legend. This jogged my memory. I was 13 vacationing at Niagara Falls. Embassy Suites double booked our room, so they sent us up to like the 40th floor. Not only was the view freaking incredible, but I could see a naked woman in an adjacent hotel just nuding about. Incredible. Just nuding about. Great sentence. My husband called a company that scammed my grandmother, who had dementia. Said they cleaned her vents, took $2,500 cash but didn't do any work, and got her money refunded. He was really tough. Is your company into elder abuse? Scamming little old ladies, and offered to stop by their office to further discuss the issue. The tough guy performance and him caring deeply for my grandmother equals dang. That's awesome of him. On another note, what a crappy thing to do by the company. I was in the pool with a few friends of mine. I decide to call a chicken fight, which is basically two guys face to face, each with a girl sitting on their shoulders. And the fight is the girls trying to push one or the other off. I have a cheerleader on me, which is a fun sentence to say to this day, and we are dominating to the point where my smallest guy friend decides to be topside for a fight. So there we are, me with a cheerleader and two guy friends, the little one being a rider, and water splashes up and knocks my hair into my eyes. So I shake my head a little and feel some water in my ear, so I tilt a little and shake some more. At which point I notice the tiny unintentional gasp type noises and feeling a little grinding on my neck. So I look up, tilting my head back and feel small hands brushing hair out of my face. And looking down is the very red face of one of the most attractive humans I've ever had, grinding on any part of me, biting her lip and giving me a good job pat on the head. This scene just turned me on. User to work at a pool shop. One day a new delivery driver turns up to deliver the 20kg bags of pool salt. She wasn't overly attractive but defiantly not ugly. The moment she started hauling 20 plus bags of salt into the shop in the hot sun, she became the most attractive woman it even laid eyes on. Something about women who can punch out physical labor as much as any man is hot as frick. I know it was a typo, but I love the confident image of someone being defiantly not ugly. Girl I have a crush on took off her hoodie and her shirt came up with it to the point you could see her bra, and I hate to say it but I was staring. This reminds me, bra straps are hot. Time to break the rules, because I only heard about this story. Had to miss it because I skipped school that day for a family emergency. In freshman year of high school, my friends and I liked to climb trees in the woods behind school. One day, one of the girls was up in a tree pretty high up when the branch apparently broke. She was fine. having instinctively jumped to another branch nearby, but not in a good spot to come back down the tree. One guy apparently just climbs up the tree like it was nothing and helps the girl down. They were dating within a week. That guy would have had my heart for sure. I was on a train many years ago with a drunk guy trying to hit on women. He was trying it with this very young and very scared girl, so I put myself in between them. He started in on me and I have no shame, so I very loudly asked him to stop touching me. I said it twice, and a guy a few seats down immediately came up, and without any aggression or violence separated the drunk guy and put him off the train at the next stop. The matter of fact way he did it was super hot. He just went back to his set and his conversation like it was nothing. Love this story. You helped that girl and didn't turn a blind eye. Then guy who probably saw you did his part. My boyfriend, now husband, coming to my college apartment to change my flat tire, in his work jeans and plain white t-shirt, with his arms and shoulders all flexed. He was just being a sweetheart and I was full on ogling him. My ex wearing my sweatshirt moving her butt in just the right way while cooking dinner on our third date which she insisted be at home. That was on purpose. He was caught in the rain in a white tank top. I was dancing in the rain with my friends. I had a huge crush on him already and then I saw him and was so happy my 15-year-old eyes could check out his toned soccer body. 11 years later he just got home after being deployed for flood relief. His body ain't as toned anymore in a white tank but his character has stood the test of time. You have a beautiful way with words. Pretty artistic and moving mini story you crafted there. 7th grade and my crush was talking to some kids and I walk over with one of my friends and before I say anything she looks over, hair flips, waves, smiles and I just stood there and waved. One time my friend and I hung out at a local outdoor restaurant and we got our food and walked across the street to sit and eat it and watch funny videos. I'm not sure if this happened because she wanted to cuddle or she needed to see my phone screen better, but she was watching so closely she practically rested her chin on my shoulder and her face was right freaking there. She stayed that way for 2-ish minutes when something funny happened in whatever we were doing and she giggled softly right into my ear and I could feel her breath. Mix of a hot sweet moment, but yeah, really wish she would do it again. Ask her. I'm married. This isn't an accident. She likes you. A woman doing a keg stand in an evening gown, who apparently forgot gravity was a thing and that she was going commando. Imagine a woman fancy enough to don an evening gown, daring enough to go commando and dumb enough to forget it. My crush was the quiet good girl nerd who seemed too innocent to understand any dirty jokes. She was sitting far away and heard an absurd dirty joke. I watched her smirk and hide a laugh. She noticed that I noticed and turned red with embarrassment. That's cute ASF. Attractive dude at a local show stared me dead in the eyes and sang "That Girl Is Poison." I don't know why but it turned me on and stayed with me for years. I was in middle school and I saw this girl with amazing hair do a hair flip. I wasn't even looking at her, just in her direction. When I saw her flip her hair, I swear, it was as if it was those cliché slow motion hair flips. I knew this girl from elementary. She was kinda nerdy, with glasses and braces and everything. That was probably almost 20 years ago. Now we're married with 2 dogs and our son just turned 1. I am a fat version of Rosie the Hobbit. So, I do not get hit on and I definitely don't flirt. I try to go unnoticed for the most part. It's okay because my sweet hobbit husband notices me. I travel for work and teach software to small utility electric companies. The guys at these places range from Uncle Grandpa to toss a coin to your Witcher hot. So, I'm at this electric cooperative to train. I had just used the restroom and exited right as a super adorable guy was walking by. I trailed him for about a minute and we were clearly going the same direction as we walked through the building. He turned around to see who was following and quickly turned his face back and I meekly said, "I promise I'm not stalking you," and quick as a whip, with the cheekiest grin, he flicked his face back and said, "I wish you would. Ugh." That guy was so hot and flirtatious and while it was intentional on his part, it absolutely wasn't on mine and completely surprised me. Toss a coin to your Witcher hot LMAOSMTH you can only say on Reddit cause none of my friends would understand. Was on a college tour and a guy ran by smelling like a workout. instantly made me resolve to break up with my boyfriend because I realized how little I was attracted to him. People underestimate the importance of being attracted to a person's natural scent mask. I know a lot of people have experiences like this, but was in high school when a guy in my weight training class stretched his back before starting on the free weights. Mother of God, I had an awakening that day. When that dude had a picture in his story, slightly censored and then sent it to me uncensored. It was just his upper body and he covered his nipples lol, but I didn't reach out or anything. Instead, suddenly, in my DMs he said, "And for you, it's uncensored." I might have drooled a tiny bit over that sole thought that he knew I had seen it and he wanted me to see it without anything else. This might be weird, but seeing a father respectfully but firmly discipline scold their child, like when you can tell they are a present enough parent that they know how to properly discipline their kid without abuse or toxicity, that might just be my daddy kink flaring up though. Guys being patient good with kids in general is always hot. Sitting in the passenger seat of a friend's car listening to Green Day and watching him put on eyeliner with incredible precision. The first day of 9th grade I was sitting in math class and I watched my crush walk in. He'd lost a lot of weight, gotten a haircut, and gave me that side eye with a smile as he sat in front of me. We celebrated our 4th anniversary this year. There were these street musicians that were drummers. They all had bongo type drums, most of them 2-3 feet long, so you could set the drum on the ground and play. Sometimes a few would show up, sometimes 10-15 would show up. One time there were at least 10 of these people playing. In the front were a young man and a young woman, both sitting on one of the park benches, each with one of these big drums between their legs. That many drums in a small space, even outside, is pretty intense. These two locked eyes and just pounded the crap out of those drums. All of a sudden I felt like I was intruding. I always liked the drumming. Had a friend in high school. Had a bit of a crush on her, but she was out of my league, socially speaking. We were partnered up in a HS math class for a game day thing where we were playing crap like chess etc. And she was sitting across from me and had a bottle of Coke, and while she was thinking about the game really intensely and didn't realize she was kind of sucking on the cap, like a dong. It was so freaking hot and I ended up losing because all I could think about was her sucking my dong. That would happen for another 5 years when she was visiting other mutual friends at my college. Was worth the wait. My 12 out of 10 crush moved in with me at short notice because personal reasons. Only one bed. I had been sleeping with a separate duvet so that we each had our own space. She knew I liked her but she wasn't ready for a relationship, so it seemed the appropriate thing to do. It proved difficult, so we gave up on that a couple of days later and just stayed separate under the big one. Then one night, I'm lying on my back. She rolls over and puts her left hand on my right shoulder and her head on my left. My heart practically exploded. This smoking hot woman, breathing gently on my chest. My god. We tried to make FWB work but it just didn't. So now she's my girlfriend of 2.5 years and about to become my fiancé. Men helping me when I need it makes me fall in love, especially if I don't have to ask and they're paying enough attention and step in. As one example, when I was younger and new to my retail job at the time, another new hire was always watching my back and making sure I was okay and comfortable no matter what role I took on at work. He did this even before introducing himself to me, and he never once mentioned or acknowledged it the entire time I was there. I just slowly realized what was happening as time went on. He just did it naturally. It felt like he was the Peter Parker to my Mary Jane. A second example is one of my co-workers' roommates from a job where we did bird research. I had a pet bird at the time who was very old and starting to decline. I grew up with him and he, my bird, was my best friend. I tried to have my bird with me at our field house and one day there was an incident and his health declined rapidly and I found blood on him. I was so scared of losing him that my hands were shaking and I couldn't hold him properly to check him physically and for further bleeding. I went to my co-worker in a panic because he was the most experienced with handling birds out of all of us. I could barely speak but I managed to shakily ask, "Can you please help me?" and handed him my bird. He noticed how scared I was, looked me in the eyes and said in pure earnesty, "Tell me what to do, and I will do it." It was one of the most calming and powerful things anyone had ever said to me. I still think about it and it gets me shook to this day. Don't make me cry. Here come the tears. The wind in Las Vegas. Like holy crap. You walk down the street and it feels like that gust of hot air when you first open an oven. Me and a buddy were planning on going on the roller coaster until we walked across the street and felt the wind. We decided to take shots instead. Last month, I was visiting Georgia and went into a mall. Inside one of the mall's huge stores was a man who looked really close to my age, and he was playing his own rendition of the first Noel. It also could have been a fake person with an eye playing the piano, but who knows. Whatever it was, I listened to the piano playing like it was a fever dream. It was so holy, I thought I was crushing on the man. I haven't seen him ever since, obviously because I was just visiting, but I don't think I'll ever have an experience like that really soon. Passed out on a couch at a party in my late 20s. Woke up to my 2 female friends making out. It was hot. They denied it. LOL. Dear diary, jackpot. I was going to a concert with a group of friends and the plan was everyone was going to meet at my parents' apartment because I still lived there and then ride together. One of my female friends was bringing a friend but I didn't know who. My mom was supposed to babysit my nephew that day, so when the girls got there my mom told them to go on back to my room down the hallway. When the girl I didn't really know was getting over the baby gate in the hallway, she smiled at me. Right then and there I knew I was going to be spending the rest of my life trying to see that smile as much as possible. That was back in '97 and she's waiting for me to come to bed right now. Nice man, this tea makes me so happy. I'm autistic, and I stim a lot when I've got certain emotions, mostly joy, and my ex always sort of shimmied away from me when I was stimming. Shoulder dumped him sooner than I did, but my current boyfriend, the first time he saw me really happy stim, like full body movement, he smiled at me so huge and twirled me into a little dance, like co-stimming. It was the hottest thing I think he could have done, honestly. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.